Mauricio Umansky spills how RHOBH changed ex Kyle Richards. Mauricio Umansky is spilling the tea on how RHOBH has changed his estranged wife, Kyle Richards. The two were married for nearly 30 years and raised 4 daughters together. Unfortunately, they split in July 2023 and are unable to reconcile. So what does the real estate mogul have to say about his ex and reality television fame? Keep reading for further details. Mauricio Umansky spills how RHOBH changed Kyle. For 12 seasons on RHOBH, Mauricio Umansky and Kyle Richards were a power couple. She supported him in his real estate endeavors even if it meant losing her family. He initially was in business with her brother-in-law, Rick Hilton, when he got the opportunity to branch out on his own. It would likely jeopardize their relationship with Kyle's sister, Kathy Hilton, but she wanted what was best for Mauricio. He went on to excel in his career, and he watched her return to acting while opening a handful of boutiques while becoming a reality star. She is now the last OG standing on RHOBH and has been there for all 14 seasons. Admittedly, after the last 2 seasons, she did not know if she would come back. In season 13, Kyle and Mauricio shared the demise of their marriage. He has since moved out of their home and gotten his own place. Furthermore, he was involved with philanthropist Nikita Khan and is now having fun with model Claudia Kay. So when asked about Kyle and how she changed since joining the hit Bravo reality series, what did Mauricio have to say? According to Reality Blurb, Mauricio Umansky claims that Kyle Richards is the same person she always has been. He spilled this alongside co-star and close friend PK Kemsley on Bravo's Hot Mic podcast. As for whether or not he and Kyle had a chance at reconciliation, Mauricio was clear about where they stood. He maintained they are best friends, and that is all. Holiday happiness. Despite being separated, Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky reunited for the holidays in Aspen with their 4 girls. They enjoyed cooking and baking, with Kyle making a grand Christmas Eve dinner. She then woke everyone up on Christmas morning so they could open gifts together, and they looked extremely happy to keep the tradition alive. He had just been spotted in Aspen, dining and shopping with Claudia Kay, as it was alleged Kyle would be with her sisters for the holidays. However, her daughters documented their happiness on social media. Mauricio Umansky leaned back in his chair, his signature charm emanating even in the quiet of his office. The room, with its panoramic view of Los Angeles, was a stark contrast to the chaos of reality television that had engulfed his life for over a decade. For the first time, he was ready to speak candidly about how the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills had impacted his now estranged wife, Kyle Richards. When we first joined the show, it was just supposed to be fun. Mauricio began, his voice carrying a mixture of nostalgia and resignation. Kyle and I thought it would be a great way to showcase our lives and maybe promote my business a bit. We never imagined how deeply it would change things for her, for me, for our family. Kyle Richards entered the Housewives franchise as a beloved figure, a former child actress, a devoted wife, and a mother of 4. Her sisterly bond with Kim Richards and her no-nonsense approach to drama made her an instant fan favorite. But as Mauricio explained, the show's relentless spotlight began to reshape her identity in ways neither of them anticipated. Kyle is someone who's always cared deeply about her family, Mauricio said, tapping his fingers thoughtfully on his desk. But the cameras amplify everything. Every disagreement, every insecurity, every triumph. She started to feel like she had to play a role, not just for the viewers but for the other women on the show. It's like living in a fishbowl, and it's exhausting. The early seasons of RHOBH focused heavily on Kyle's relationship with her sister Kim, which Mauricio admitted was one of the most challenging aspects of their time on the show. Kyle loves her sister deeply, but their relationship was already complicated before the cameras came around. Now suddenly, millions of people had opinions on it. That pressure affected her more than she let on. As the years went by, Mauricio noticed subtle shifts in Kyle's demeanor. Once carefree and grounded, she became more guarded, more preoccupied with public perception. Social media only exacerbated the issue. Kyle started reading everything people said about her online, Mauricio revealed. I'd tell her to ignore it, but she couldn't. If someone criticized her parenting, her looks, or her decisions, it stayed with her. She'd replay those comments in her head, and I could see it eating away at her confidence. Mauricio paused, as if debating how much to share. Finally, he leaned forward, his tone more introspective. One of the hardest parts was seeing how the show changed her friendships. Kyle's always been someone who values loyalty, but in the housewives' world, alliances shift like the wind. People you trust one season might turn on you the next. That really hurt her. She'd come home from filming drained, questioning who she could rely on. The cracks in their marriage also became a storyline, particularly in recent seasons as rumors swirled about their relationship. Mauricio admitted that the scrutiny took a toll. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but whose is? He said, his voice tinged with frustration. The show magnified every little issue we had. If we had an argument, it wasn't just between us anymore. It was fodder for blogs, podcasts, and Twitter threads. That's a lot of pressure for any couple. Mauricio's real estate empire, the agency, also became part of the narrative. While he's proud of his professional success, he confessed that the show's portrayal of his work life sometimes felt reductive. People saw me as just Kyle's husband or the guy who throws great parties. They didn't always see the hard work that went into building the agency. That was frustrating, but I tried not to let it bother me. What mattered most was supporting Kyle. Despite the challenges, Mauricio acknowledged that RHOBH wasn't all negative. The show provided incredible opportunities for their family, from business ventures to memorable experiences. He's particularly proud of how Kyle used her platform to advocate for important causes and showcase her talents, like her recent ventures into acting and producing. Kyle is incredibly strong, Mauricio said with a hint of admiration. She's taken everything this show has thrown at her and turned it into something positive. But it's come at a cost. Sometimes I wonder if she'd be happier if we'd never done the show. The couple's separation, which became public earlier this year, marked a turning point. Mauricio was candid about the role RHOBH played in their decision to part ways. I think we both lost sight of who we were outside of the show, he admitted. When your life is so intertwined with a reality TV storyline, it's hard to separate what's real from what's performative. We needed to take a step back and figure out who we are as individuals. Mauricio's reflections weren't solely about Kyle. He acknowledged his own mistakes and the ways he'd been affected by the housewives machine. I wasn't always as present as I should have been, he confessed. I got caught up in my work, in the lifestyle, in the idea of providing this perfect image. But life isn't perfect. Marriage isn't perfect, and maybe that's okay. Looking ahead, Mauricio expressed hope for the future, for himself, for Kyle, and for their family. Kyle and I will always be connected. We've built a beautiful family together, and that's something I'll always cherish. I don't know what's next for us, but I'm grateful for the journey we've shared. As he stood to leave, Mauricio glanced out the window, the Los Angeles skyline stretching endlessly before him. His words lingered in the air, a mix of regret and resilience. The show changed Kyle, he said quietly. It changed me, but maybe in some ways it had to. Growth isn't always comfortable. Sometimes it's messy and painful and full of lessons you didn't ask for. But it's still growth.